Hello, good day, and welcome here once again to La Token Venture Capital TV. My name is Xavier. I'll be your host for today, and like every session, we want to bring you the innovation, technology, and solutions you want to hear about. During all our sessions, you get to hear directly from the CEOs or the relevant leaders speaking about the project. And that's what makes this show quite unique. You can post your questions or comment in the chat box and we'll be addressing them. It's a unique way to get to learn about the project before you invest. Now, before we move on to the interview, as a reminder, you can always see our previous shows and content by visiting latalkin.com/vctv/shows. Also, follow on our socials like Facebook and Twitter. And if you're watching us on YouTube, just hit the subscribe button because you always get informed of great content, opportunities, and even giveaways. One last reminder, anything mentioned here is not any type of financial advice. Please do your research before making any decision. It's your choices and your responsibility. And with that said, we have a great show today. I would like to welcome our guest, Rachel Nichols, the founder of Nicco. Very welcome, Rochelle. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you going?
Great, great. Looking forward for it. You have a very interesting project, and I was reviewing it. It's a B2B enterprise solution in which it combines the payments, the data, and cloud solution designed to help companies understand the customers. Now, and it's interesting, you mix it also with tokens, so the blockchain is involved as well. So very curious to hear about that. So before we jump on the interview, can you please introduce us a little bit about yourself, the team?
Yeah, sure. My background is actually in law, and I spent many, many years in the commercial and governance world. After finishing all of that, I went into startup world and started was managing director of a couple of companies. And that's where I really kind of fell in love with this world and creating concepts and, commercializing them and building relationships. So that's been my mix of background. And then we have this really great team. We've been very fortunate to attract some great talent across technology, asset monetization, operations, project development, sales, and distribution. And we've got some pretty great enterprise partners as well, like your IBMs, your Ingram Micros, Partner Stack. So we have this really great conglomerate of people and companies that have kind of come together since I started this company in 2019.
Oh, great, fantastic. And one more thing, I'm really happy to have you here. Girl power. Finally, the female power is coming up because otherwise it's just like usually the guys finally, I can see, yeah, the female power is up. Well done. So really happy
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, no, that's good.
Now, another point. Let's go a little bit in a more holistic view about the market. The market is just for our viewers to understand where can they place you. So, which market is Nico active in? How would you describe it?
I would describe Nicco as an enterprise solution. So we sell, we are industry agnostic, but we are really selling into some key target industries, but to those enterprises or to those businesses, I guess. I mean, enterprise business is interchangeable, but the solution is a large ecosystem solution. So we do kind of target those larger enterprises, with our foundational markets across sport, retail, tourism, entertainment. Those are the key industries. But that's us. So the product is able to be API integrated or white labeled. So that's our target industry.
Okay. And just for our viewers to have an idea, I would like to share your webpage. I hope you can see it down here. Yeah, that's it. So for our viewers, please do visit the project's website. You can see it down below the banner. It's nicoglobal.com. You will be able to find more about the solution, the team. They have the team feature there, media, white paper. You can get in contact with the project. So please do visit that page. So, Michelle, back to you. Now, when you just started with the project, what is the problem that you foresaw and motivated you and your co-founders to start it?
Yeah, I think that when I started working in these startups and was, spending a lot of time with different types of organizations, and that's where, this agnostic to industry concept came from. What I realized was is that there was a lack of ability for enterprises to really differentiate between individual consumers, to understand different consumers.
Hmm.
And I was really curious as to why that was. Why was I getting the same emails from the local football professional club that my dad was getting? My father and I are completely different consumers.
Okay.
We're interested in very different things, but we got the same emails. Why was my airline that I've been a member of for 15 years sending me car insurance ads when I didn't have a car? I kept looking, I kept seeing kind of these communications and marketing and things, and thinking, why don't they know me? And it wasn't until really I was able to look under the hood of many different types of organizations, from your big enterprises, even down to smaller ones or sporting clubs or whatever, and realizing that the gap was actually the lack of data capture. And not only was it a lack of succinct data capture in the back end of these kinds of organizations and linking it all together, but the breadth of data that they were able to access was very small and very minute in terms of allowing them to understand me. So if I'm interacting with a football club, what do they really know about me? Not very much, in terms of, maybe I buy tickets, maybe I
Hmm.
am buying food and drink at the stadium, but none of that's really been collected and put into an asset that is able to A, tell them exactly what I'm interested in and how and when and why and pricing points, and then B, in a format for them to be able to then make use of that information. And so that's really the problem that I started to see, and realize that it was everywhere. That there were these data gaps, there were these silos, the lack of infrastructure to be able to connect it all together to make that data capture streamlined, and then the lack of ability to bring in different types of products and services so that they could start to get a bigger picture on individual consumers. That
Hmm.
was the big gap that I saw, and also realizing that a lot of these consumer centric enterprises, like your airlines, like your sporting clubs, or those kinds of enterprises that have this engaged consumer base, are not given the ability to monetize that in a way where it benefits the consumer themselves and those other businesses. So that's really what I went about trying to solve, and that's why I created Nicco and the product that has been built.
So one question here. So Nico would be in charge of managing the data that has been captured already, or Nico is also part of capturing that new data.
Yeah, it's largely number B, or letter B, should I say? But yeah, we take the data that you already have, and we can
Okay.
kind of put it into a format. We don't want to waste anything that you've captured, or any enterprise has captured over time. But fundamentally, we always believe that the most valuable data sits around a transaction,
Hmm.
and the other aspect being is how recent and how consistent is that data capture. And that's a huge aspect of what we're doing with this digital ecosystem infrastructure, is enabling a consumer with that personal ledger app to transact across all different types of products and services in an ecosystem that may belong to a football club, or it may belong to an airline or a bank, uh, and collecting really granular data around every single transaction. Because what's the most accurate data that there is on someone? Where they spend their money
Uh-huh, uh-huh, okay.
consistently over and over again. So we take that one transaction, and then we collect, at times, hundreds of data points around that single transaction. So as you can imagine, that kind of data, when it's consistently collected, is going to
Hmm.
give the greatest insight into an individual consumer.
How do you how does it work? Do you have like an AI software in the background, or is it more manual that people start sort of like
No,
analyzing the data of each
That's
individual?
no, that's a really great question, and I think that's one of the things that I learned very early on prior to Nico, was really letting the data be captured in a way without human interference. And without, because that's where you can get errors, and that's where data can get tainted. And so what this app does, and we can kind of jump into how the product works, but really what this app does is anytime you're interacting throughout these digital ecosystems, it's collecting really, really granular data, segmenting it into a format that is able to be turned into insights based on what that particular ecosystem is looking for. And obviously leveraging artificial intelligence, machine learning, live consumer dashboards. What we're fundamentally doing underneath this ecosystem is building an incredibly valuable and detailed data bank. And with that information, we let it tell us what the insights are and what the information is versus us going in there and trying to manipulate it. But of course, data science is a huge aspect of this. Having people, being on top of it and telling the system to do it, do what it needs to do is a huge aspect of it. But we really, really believe in not manipulating the data.
Okay, great. And this is something that is happening right now, right? You're actually doing this at the moment.
We have built this product. Largely, the core components have been built. So we started as I said, I started the company in 2019, and I actually engaged IBM Garage. So have you ever heard of IBM Garage?
No,
so
I haven't.
IBM Garage is a separate to IBM. So the IBM Garages are, I think there's about 13 or 14 around the world, and they are, garages of incredibly skilled and talented and experienced developers, architects, designers, or what have you. And you can have quite a large group of them working for you at any one point. And so not having a technical bone in my body, I went to the IBM Garage and engaged them to build this product for me and build, those first, taking my first idea and going into it. I think we've built maybe 4 MVPs now, and really based around those core components, and initially built it around a stadium environment, and targeting that sporting club as one of our foundational industries that we're going after. And so that was really, really valuable to build this product, and also build it in a way where, as I've been saying, it is agnostic to industry. So whilst we're working in sport, and we have a Australia Zoo as well that we're going to be working with, and some other ones, because the core components are just connecting of different types of merchants into an ecosystem, and an app that is centers around token payments and modular features and an intelligent marketplace that can be picked up and put into any industry whenever you have consumer and business interaction. But that's the core of what we've built. And then with these customers that we're going to be rolling these ecosystems out with, we will customize per industry based on who we're working with.
Okay, great, fantastic. Now let's do something. Let's imagine that I have a company,
Mm-hmm.
right? You name it. I'm in the travel and tourism area. That's my company, and we bump into the elevator going to a conference. You have like 2 minutes to sell me your idea. How would you do that?
Well, I'd push stop on the elevator button first.
And kidnap me.
I push the emergency button and say, hang on a second, I gotta. No. So the way that I always pitch Nico is, it's all about creating new digital revenue streams for businesses that we're working with. That's always the catchphrase that's going to get them. But really what this does is that what we do is we deploy a digital ecosystem infrastructure for your business. And what that enables you to do, if you're a tourism operator, if you're a tourism department, a government tourism department, and you have all different types of merchants and businesses in your tourism, enterprise. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we provide the infrastructure underneath that allows all of those businesses to pop up and appear in this ecosystem, and connect that to an app which centers around the personal ledger and token transaction system. What that does then is that whether a tourist goes in and they are in venue at one of your stores, or they're online, they have one place to interact without your entire ecosystem. Not only that, but you can bring in all different types of businesses into your ecosystem, partner business, complementary businesses. And why would you do that? Well, A, you're going to make your value proposition to consumers even more broad, giving them access to products and services and pricing that they never had before. But you're going to get data that you've never seen before as well. And that's fundamentally why you would bring in all these different types of businesses, why you would connect all of your different types of products and services into this one ecosystem. Because every time someone interacts with it, we're creating you this asset underneath that you then get to turn around to the B2B world and say, hey, we've got 1 million consumers. We know their pricing points. We know that their product and service preferences. We know when they want to be communicated with. We know how they want to be communicated with. So how much do you want to offer us to expose your product to them direct into the app?
Okay, great. Fantastic. Just under 2 minutes. So where
You
do
know,
I
I'm
see?
surprised. I never normally hit it. I never normally hit 2 minutes. And I stopped myself then too. I was like, don't keep going.
Okay, where do I sign? Good. You know, the key question I think of the main thing of this AMA, how does the Nico solution work? You did touch base a little bit about it, but is there something else you would like to share with us on how is it working?
Yeah, I think it's always because we sell B2B and because we sell to businesses, obviously we lead with creating these new significant digital revenue streams for these businesses. But fundamentally, we are a consumer-centric driven business. We build around creating benefits for your individual consumers because we believe fundamentally that if they're happy, if they're seeing value, then then that will flow up the chain to your business and then so on and so on. So, we have that infrastructure around connecting all of your different types of touch points into that one ecosystem. But the app is really the core aspect of our solution that is going to give the most value to your customers. And as I said, that centers around this kind of data digital wallet, which acts as that gatekeeper of information for you, Xavier. So you can have that one central point that collects all your transaction data, all your identification data, all your entire history, and that creates also an asset for you to be able to monetize and choose to expose your data to that ecosystem or not. And that's really putting into your hands to the ability to control your own data and decide what you expose or not. But the more you expose, the better pricing you get, the more rewards you get, the more that ecosystem is able to understand you and give you more of what you want. But not only that, and taking into account that Nico will be deploying all different types of ecosystems under the name of a club, a sporting club, under the name of a consumer product business. You as a consumer can take your digital data asset or wallet basically on chain and go in and connect to all these different types of ecosystems that we've deployed. So you're taking your consumer profile, and you can go in and out of all these different ecosystems, but you can take your consumer profile and go over here and join this one. And when you connect and you click, yes, I choose to show my profile to this ecosystem, they may never have met you before. It could be an airline you've never been to before. They instantly know, hey, Xavier's a big spender. Hey, we know what he likes. We know when he wants to transact. So you're instantly going to get personalization, true personalization, and different pricing based on you having your own consumer profile and showing them it.
Okay, and when you say I can take out my data profile, put it somewhere else, that's me as a person, right? I choose
Correct.
to put it.
Correct.
Right.
It's your asset that we're creating for you. We create an asset for every single individual consumer that uses the app,
Okay.
as well as every single business. It's all
Okay.
about asset monetization.
And then I think this is going to lead me to my second question, which is kind of like I was really curious about. How does the token get involved in the whole project and ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So the nickel token, obviously, not only just from a funding mechanism, but it is the main transacting currency within the solution. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the way that we've built I guess the way that we built the way that the app connects to the ecosystem, the way that you can pay for products and services, whether it be a hot dog at a football stadium, or a beer, or whatever it is, you are paying via a token. And we had built that quite a long time ago because we realized that if you just did token payments across a personal ledger, or a business ledger, should I say, it's really, really cheap. You're not engaging with gateways or schemes and things like that. It's really
Mhm.
just cloud consumption. And that's incredibly cheap because for us, we can do in the vicinity of, I think it's 330 million transactions per month at a cost of 0.007 to 0.0014, depending on a load and usage, etc., per transaction. That is incredibly cheap, obviously. And there's incredible room there for incremental revenue to be made by consumers and businesses. So then obviously the next logical step was to create our own token, not only to provide that investment value and also give value to those holders, that when we deploy these ecosystems and they can, put the token, the Nickel token, into their wallets and transact with that, they're already going to be having a significant economic advantage by doing that.
Okay. And you mentioned a key part there, the benefits, the value for investors. But once again, what can investors expect when they will be investing in your token?
Sure. So I think that there's a really important aspect to this token, and I think that this isn't just a cryptocurrency that's being traded for value. This is linked to an asset, and it's an asset for purpose, and that is directly linked to the value of the company and the product Nicco Global. So obviously that is important because we've seen a structural shift happen recently, which we think is, from what we're seeing anyway, is we're seeing it shift towards more asset-backed tokens and coins and things like that. But also, the more that we deploy these ecosystems, should I say, the more public announcements that we're soon to be making around quite large customers, you're going to see an increase in value in that token. But not only that, obviously we're going to be providing your stocks into things like the ability to trade, to stake, to sell. We have a buyback and burn scheme to make sure that there's always that scarcity of token. We don't want to overflow the market with a token. So there's all these different aspects of making sure that that there's utility and real genuine utility in the token, as well as investment value as well.
And I like the idea that it's backed up by a real project and it's not just a standalone token representing something.
For
But it's
sure, I think that's an important part, and something that I always like to get across very strongly is that we have a product, we have customers, we have enterprise partners. The token came third or fourth; it didn't come first. But it also really logically made sense, and so this infrastructure that is already sitting here pairs really well with this token and the benefits that go along with it.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for that, all that information. I saw something interesting also on your website,
Right.
and in the solution, I think it is in the solution, where actually we can see the markets where this can be used. Uh, maybe then how does it work? Oh, sorry, here I go.
Industry down the bottom.
Yeah, industries here,
Yeah.
which these board consumer products, tourism and travel, entertainment and leisure, financial services, hospitality and retail, corporate, smart cities, government. Now, there's quite an array of different different types of companies. But my question is, will this also work for small and medium companies that doesn't have like a big database of users? Uh, could they still make use of it?
Yeah, they would make use of it by joining these larger ecosystems.
Okay.
And I think that that's a really important aspect of kind of understanding how Nicco works. If a large example, sporting organization like a FIFA, like an F1 or what have you, was to deploy the Nicco solution as their infrastructure, they can bring in all different types of small businesses into their ecosystem as well. They can be surrounding stadiums, they can be surrounding events. And these small businesses are going to be able to leverage technology that is normally only affordable at an enterprise scale. But they're also going to be able to be leveraging the data that's collected throughout that whole ecosystem that's going to push fans of these particular sporting organizations to those partner small businesses. But having said that, we will also, in our roadmap, deploy a Nicco-facing ecosystem that is entirely based around integrating all different types of small businesses, family-run businesses, and exposing them to consumers. With us kind of absorbing those costs for them, because I'm a big believer in small businesses. Nicco, the name itself means victory for the people in Greek. So we
Okay.
are about small businesses, micro businesses, and consumers, and so there is a use case for that as well that we will be driving. But fundamentally, joining those bigger ecosystems is where they're going to get a lot of benefit.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Now that a project like yours, I haven't really come across with it. So my question would be, if there is any project out there anywhere in the world doing something similar than what Nico is doing, what would you say it's your main differentiators?
Sure. I'm very fortunate that we do have very large, enterprise partners who also haven't seen anything like this. And whilst there may be aspects of the product that exist, I think fundamentally our main difference is the monetization aspect. The fact
Hmm.
that we are creating an asset at the consumer level, at the consumer centric business level, and at the B2B level. I mean, what we're doing from a cost perspective, from a revenue perspective, and from a data perspective is really that unique point of difference, and doing it at a pay per use revenue model as well. I think that those are those main differentiators where we're saying to the consumer, here's your asset, you can monetize that. To the sporting club or to the middleman, here's your asset, you can monetize that. And then creating this portal for all different types of businesses to log on to the digital ecosystem and say, I want to sell a pair of Nike Air Force Ones at this pricing point, and this is the revenue that I'm looking for, and this is the ROI I'm looking for. And that digital ecosystem product that we are building, be able to turn around and say, your best match is FIFA. They've got this many people that match the product that you're looking for at this pricing point, et cetera, et cetera. And what we do is create this automated digital revenue stream where Nike can come in and they can create a product campaign and offer a commission to FIFA. It gets sent over to FIFA into the ecosystem. FIFA can review it and say, yep, that sounds good, or they can reject it, or they can counter offer. They can click that, and based on their data asset, that offer will go only to the people that are most likely to transact on it. If they click and they say, yep, I want to buy those Nike Air Force Ones, the whole system is facilitating the transaction. It gives the clip to FIFA. It processes the transaction over to Nike. It's creating new independent digital revenue streams that are very, very significant, particularly when you take away gateway and scheme costs.
Oh, so this means that you're actually assisting with the transaction itself.
We do the whole thing. We
Okay,
do
so then there's no need for a merchant account anymore.
not really.
Oh wow, great! Nothing against the merchant accounts, we love them.
No, no,
But yeah,
no.
that's good.
We have, but I think it's important to note too that whilst this is a token transacting, infrastructure, so to speak, we do facilitate 150 different types of cryptocurrencies and fiat currencies as well. By no means are we trying to exclusively block different types of transacting currencies. But
Right,
yeah,
just
fundamentally,
it's making
sorry.
it more competitive. It's making it
Yeah,
more
for sure.
competitive. So
For
that's
sure. And also, I think that an important aspect too is that we're building this technology so that more traditional businesses, or maybe businesses that aren't more up to date with these new modern emerging technologies, can still jump into and use our technology and kind of become along and be guided into this new world, so they're not left behind. So they can facilitate cryptocurrency transacting. They can leverage the benefits of blockchain. They can start to facilitate buy, sell of NFTs without having to turn their whole business model upside down.
Okay, good. And silly question, but I assume enterprises and consumers from all over the world can join, right? There's no geographic restrictions here.
No geographic restrictions whatsoever. No, and that's a huge aspect of working with a partner like Ingram Micro. So Ingram Micro is a distributor, the largest distributor of consumer products in the world, but they have the largest conglomerate of marketplaces in the world, where they sell and distribute products like Nicco in 47 countries. So really my job and my team's job is to build these use cases, and then we hand them over to the likes of an Ingram Micro, who then go and sell the product throughout all those different countries. So there is no barrier to entry for where we will go. It's just about deploying these ecosystems and continuously creating the value proposition, enhancing it over and over again.
Right. But do you have any strategy plans about which will be your key geographic areas to enter first, or is it really just depending on the community?
No, we have very strong relationships in the USA and in Europe. I mean, the USA, we're a part of a private group that gives us access to over 12,000 sporting organisations
Wow.
in the USA. So that's obviously a huge market for us. We really do. Obviously, we're an Australian-based or founded company, should I say, and so we obviously have strong relationships here. But Australia has always been, our sandbox environment to create this, to test it, and to use it with the view that once we finish with quite a large project that we are not able to announce yet, but hopefully we'll be able to if everything goes to plan. Once we finish with that large customer sporting project next year, we will be heavily targeting the USA, then Europe, and then MENA.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Now a little bit talking into that, the roadmap. I know it's really hard to
Yeah.
forecast anything at the moment, right? You have market conditions, you have regulators, you have technology changing every day, improving. But where would you like to see the project in a couple of years from now?
Well, I can already tell you we've mapped it out quite aggressively. So we have a very clear roadmap in relation to 4 customer industry use cases that we're going to be starting very, very soon. So our job is to develop and deploy those customer use cases. One is in sport, as I mentioned earlier on. One is in tourism, entertainment, and banking, retail banking. In the next 18 months, we hope to have those well and truly, I guess, deployed and starting to do what they're supposed to be doing. We then have a secondary product that we will launch at probably about the 24-month mark. And then really then it is about replication of those ecosystems worldwide and using those partners to continuously build out and deploy different types of ecosystems for different types of enterprise customers.
Okay, great. So you do have it all mapped out.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while.
You have to in this environment right now. You have to.
Well, we have
What's
to. I mean, I think, Xavier, we have, with these partners that we have the infrastructure to sell. I don't have to build global sales teams. They're sitting there waiting for us.
yeah.
So when you have them sitting there and you have the ability to sell these products or sell our product, or they go and sell it, should I say, the roadmap becomes quite simple.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it. Being an enterprise solution B2B, then you just have to basically make a partnership with them, and then they'll just bring all the clients themselves. To our viewers, please visit nicoglobal.com to learn more about the project, the team behind the white paper, the services, the solution. And then, please, if you decide, then you get in contact with the project and then you can participate. You can do so by visiting their Instagram. The handle number one is Nickel Global,
with
and
an
the
L
handle
at the end.
Global, right? Global. I
Global
think
with an L.
we're missing one L there. I'm gonna pull somebody's ears, which uh, will be mine. Okay,
Yeah,
here we go.
yours. There you go.
Thank you. Nickel Global, number one handle Instagram. The second one is Nickel Token. Those are the second one. Please get in contact with the project. And once again, it's nickelglobal.com. Rachel, thank you very much. It's been very insightful. You have a great project. Do you have any final words for our viewers today?
Yeah, I would say, well, thanks for listening or thanks for watching. And also, obviously, get on board with us, buy the token. We have some great stuff coming up. We have a pretty spectacular team, some of which can't announce yet, but hopefully to be announcing soon. We have a pretty exciting 24 months. So come and join us.
Great, fantastic. Also, Rochelle, we would love to see a demo in the coming future. So if you can have something else you can share us. We're very visual here. And as you see, we love to share screens. So whenever you have a demo, well, you're more than welcome and you can show us something new.
Yeah, I'd love to. I've got plenty of demos and a few customer use cases, so we can jump on and do it again.
Good, good. We are organized. Okay. Rochelle, thank you very much for being with us. That's been very, very enlightening to our viewers. Thank you very much and see you at the next show. Have a great evening, Rochelle.
Thank you very much. You too.